Let's do it.
All right, recording's back on. So,
Cool. Well, good morning, everybody. What I'm going to share with you today is what I love doing. You know, after 34 years of selling real estate, I love my clients, right? And clients just keep giving back and giving back. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you, and we'll get going. Okay, how to turn clients in life to a referral money machine. This topic, I think of client, and I hate to put a client as a dollar amount, right? But it is the business we're in, and just having a referral machine is key. So I'm going to share a few concepts of what we do. But truly, I think you should just buy more leads. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Spend more money, buy more leads, buy more Zillow leads, and all the different places that you can spend money on. But I really think you should buy them. Does anybody agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Disagree, right? Good. All right.
Totally disagree.
Cool. So turn this off. So yeah, that's really not the answer, right? We need to focus on what works best for us. So we kind of, Sarah and I coined a term called hopium, right? I think agents have for years, myself included, thought if you can buy leads, you'd get more business. And you can, right? If you want that type of business. I'm going to just go back a couple of years when I started coaching with workmen, and some of the agents that were younger than me in the office and around town got into pay-per-click lead generation early on. And I was like, I don't do that, you know. And so I kind of, after a while, joined them, you know, and started spending money on leads. And I've learned a lot on lead generation, lead conversion, and so forth. But really, I think people think that if you spend money on certain things, has anybody ever answered a salesman's call selling you something and you just said yes? I mean, I do. I still do it to today. You know, I got a deal going right now, which is stupid, but they called me and it's some Facebook advertising, and you know, I mean, I get leads, but they're all like, they don't even know who I am or why they called or why I have their information. So anyway, because I always have that hope, right, that I can attract additional clients. And the reason we want to attract additional clients is because we want to turn them into a client for life, right? All of us have a different set of tools.
Yes,
Steve, all right, there we go. Thank you. So our relationships are our most important asset, right? And
Jeff, good morning.
can you mute everybody, Sarah?
Yeah.
So people do.
Nate, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay. All right. You muted me as well, huh? So can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So clients don't shop, right? If you have a really good client, there's a good chance that they're going to call you back. And I feel that the transactions are a lot easier when you're dealing with somebody you know and trust, somebody that trusts you. And I also believe that you have a higher net profit, right, at the end of the day. So having a good CRM is a must. Doesn't matter which CRM you use, it matters that you use the CRM, right? I've had CRMs going all the way back, 30 years ago. Before CRMs, they were 3x5 cards in a recipe box, right? And that's how you kept your leads back in the 80s, early 80s and before. So today there's so many sophisticated CRMs. It's the CRM that you use is the best one for you. So I'm going to teach a concept to you. It's called 8651, right? And this is a concept was developed. There's a white paper on this. Sarah, I don't know if at the end of the call that you can just share that white paper with everybody that was on the call for them to read.
Sure.
But 8651 what if I could tell you that you can get 86 referrals in a year? Would you be interested? You know? Um, and what if you can get these 86 referrals from only having to work with 50 people? And you only have to spend about an hour a day nurturing this group of people. I mean, would that make sense? Would you be willing to do that? Would you be willing to spend an hour a day focusing on your top 50 people? Sarah and I just got back from a conference, and Sarah, you might be able to help me on this, but Tammy Slay kind of slayed the 8651, and she said that she's got 87 referrals from this program. Do you know if that was over a year or 2 years? What was the time?
I believe it was 2 years.
2 years. I'm not sure I ever got 86 referrals in a year or 2 years because I maybe am not as diligent, or maybe I was not even paying attention to the amount of business that was coming in from this group of people. So working with your top 50 list, right? Now, your top 50 should be people that trust you and are willing to give you a piece of business. Not necessarily that you sold them a house before. They don't need to be a past client. They can be your veterinarian, they can be your doctor, your dry clean person. It doesn't really matter, but somebody that believes in you and the services that you provide. And if you provide and set up a high quality touch once a month, what's a high quality touch? That could be a phone call. That could be a face-to-face meeting, having a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Maybe it's lunch, maybe it's dinner, but a high touch. That you don't have to do that every month as far as having dinner with somebody, but trying to create a high touch piece, right? Meeting people one-on-one, using BombBomb videos. You don't even need to use BombBomb. You can just use your phone and create a video and text it to somebody. Very simple process. Setting up a Facebook group could be advantageous to your top 50, and doing private events, right? So these are pretty much the keys to working with the top 50. And then one of the things about top 50, if they own a business, can you refer them business, right? If I like to be the referral source, I want everybody to call me and ask me, hey, I need a painter, I need a plumber, I want that connection to be the source of the source, right? So in a book, Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. Now this book is old. I remember reading this book probably late 80s, early 90s somewhere. But Harvey McKay used to sell envelopes for a living. He had an envelope company. And what Harvey says in his book, and you can Google this, you can just Google McKay 66 and you'll be able to download for free his 66 questions you should know about every one of your clients. The more you know about your clients, the better and the deeper the relationships are, right? So, if you know where they went to high school or college and what kind of degree they studied, what kind of sports they played, if they served in the military, what was their rank, where were they stationed, just anything you can learn about them, learning their spouse's name, their spouse's occupation as well as theirs, where their spouse went to school, and just really start going deep. And what Harvey said in the book, it's about building a relationship. You see, he had to cold call into large companies like GM or Intel or whoever was around back then, right? Trying to get them to purchase their envelopes, by the thousands or the hundred thousands, and he had to get to the right person. And you can never just call somebody and say, hey, put an order for, 10,000 envelopes with me. He had to build a relationship with them first. He had to try to break down the barriers that were in front of that person. I think it's a pretty good segue into building your own customer profile. So this is just kind of a profile that we want to have on our top 50, knowing their wedding anniversary of their house, when they purchased or sold, the kids, the pets, etc. Right? The kids' interest, are they playing Pop Warner? Are they playing soccer? Are they in theater? All these types of things are important. It's going to tie you closer to your client. So here's what happens, right? 40% of the people in this list, or 20 people, will give you 3 or more referrals. I'm going to say that again. 40% of the people will give you 3 or more referrals. That's 60 referrals, right? From less than half of your list, So 20 people. I mean, we all have 20 people in our lives that love us, trust us, and want to see us succeed. And they know the customer service that we provide, so they want their friends and family and coworkers to experience the same. Okay, 50% will give you 1 referral. So look at that. Just in the top 50%, we get 60 plus 25 transactions, right? And 1 referral from a local business, rounds you out to about 86, right? So 5 people will not give you a referral, and you need to replace them. And it might be 10, right? So at the end of the year, you need to analyze your top 50 list and see who you want to move off the list and who you want to move on the list, And the concept is really to keep your top 50 as that 50. I have some people say, well, I got 60. Well, you need to pare it down to 50, and just keep a small list. I only have 30. Well, it's a good start, but you want to start working on adding until you do get your total 50. So what's a client worth?
Let me interrupt for a second. I'm going to email you guys that 8651 PDF, but I'll also send you a copy of the top 50 tracker that is really amazing for tracking the referrals that are coming in, all of your monthly touches. And then that way you can analyze, as Nate just said, whether or not those people deserve to stay in your top 50. So I will send that as well.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to go back to where I was. Okay, so I was playing with this because I wanted to blur out the names since we're recording this, and this is kind of an open forum. Okay, there we go. I couldn't figure out how to blur out the names, so I built these these blockers, I guess. But we received a sign call on our property. I know this person and I know this process so vividly, but Bill called on a house that I had listed on the corner of Del Lago and Del Lago Circle and Arrowhead Ranch in 1996, right? Sign call. He decided, that Arrowhead wasn't where they wanted to be. They were moving from out of state. One of my buyers agents sold him a house in the Central Corridor back in 96. They stayed there till 2004. They decided they wanted to move to North Scottsdale, so we listed their house, pretty much almost doubled the sales price, definitely doubled the sales price of what he bought it for, and then bought a house up in DC Ranch. Well, they wanted more, another house, so they bought a house. We listed that house and sold it in DC Ranch, sold them a house in Silverleaf, and then later on, what happened to our real estate market? It crashed, right? So we, as the market was crashing, we had sold this person another property, an investment property, if you will, back on the west side. Then we did a short sale of their house in Silverleaf for less than 50% of what they paid for it. That didn't determine this person to continue working for him, even though the market went to hell. But we were able to get them out of that challenging property, right? Moving on, later on, they moved into that house. They stayed there for 4 years as the market was recovering. They sold that house. They bought another house. They sold that house, bought another house, right? Follow the concept. 11 transactions since 1996 with one person. Now, I have many people that have had multiple transactions. Just when I was doing this presentation a couple of years ago, I just did this mind map on this one person. And at that moment, not going back over the 96 years because I didn't keep track, but just in that moment of time when I built this, I started to think that we were able to help this person's son buy a property, right? And then we were able to help the brother buy a property. Then we were able to help that brother's son buy his first home. And matter of fact, Steve is working with them and just sold that house and sold them another home. So that tree is starting to bloom over there, right? His racquetball partner We sold their house, his employee, right? So you get the concept, of if you think of every client that you meet from this point on, they can be this client. What does that do to your business, right? How do you treat people? Do you treat people as, hey, real quick, let's get this done and move on? Or are you building a long-term relationship that lasts a lifetime? Now, this person resides as number 1 on my top 50 list. This person gets a lot of attention from me, maybe not enough, and maybe not even enough over the last, 20 some years that I've been working with this person, 24 years. I didn't really even give them enough attention as I look back, right? And I never asked this person for a referral. I never tried to, I would help him with his business. I would refer him stuff now and again, but it wasn't a major thing. But we just had a good relationship based on mutual trust, right? But once you start putting something like this together, you start to have a different vision of this person than maybe I did before. I knew he was a great client and a great friend. I didn't realize how good of a great client he was and a great friend to be able to generate this much business. I mean, it's a lot of business. I mean, him personally, almost $8 million in residential sales, right? So I challenge you to think that every person has this type of potential. As long as you take care of them, you service them well, you treat them with dignity and respect, and you move on. So a couple of things. This is going back to 2016, but want to give you an example of having a client event. Now, client events today are going to be a little bit more standoffish and so forth because of the COVID virus, but we hope and pray that we won't be stuck in COVID world the rest of our lives, right? But we did this event, and there's a lesson here. We did this event, and I've had the good pleasure in my 34-year career, and at that time, it was probably 30 years. It had sold over 5,000 homes, and we were really concerned. How do you have a client party and invite 5,000 people when I think the ticket was about $180 a person, right? To throw this once in a lifetime top 30 event. So we really had this thing on the down low, and it was really trying to go through our database and handpicking people. We couldn't advertise it because there was just no way. And I was very protective on who was going to make it to this event because of the cost, and it was limited. I couldn't bring 3 or 4 or 5 or 600 people, both budgetary, and then of course the location didn't happen. But when you do events, right, you have to look at everything that you do. I was taught a concept a long time ago called squeezing an orange. When you squeeze the orange, you're just trying to get a little more juice. So everything that you do, like this event here, we had the event, right? But we had the invitation. So we invited more people that came. We did not invite the entire 5,000. We really went through there and handpicked our list. But the people that said no, that's a few drops of that orange. They got the message. They got the invite. That felt good that, that we invited them to an event. And you got the people that come. So when people came, they got to take a picture of themselves, in front of a backdrop. And then we had a professional photographer there taking photos. We took those photos, put them in a frame and then delivered them after the event. All right. Another way to squeeze the orange. So just continuing that process. I think I got a couple other photos here. For whatever reason, there we go. It turned out to be a nice event, right? And it almost looks like it was COVID friendly as I look at the photos here. But, we had a band, and when you're inviting your clients to something, you have to have kind of the entertainment that you do have has to reach everybody. So we found a band that a friend of mine has a cover band that I'll say plays Beatles. And people young and old like the Beatles, so it worked out real well. Of course, there's a DJ there. If you look at the top left photo, those boxes that are there, those were gifts for everybody in attendance when they left. And again, it might have been a little self-serving, but there were wine glasses with our logos engraved on them, and our 30-year anniversary logo. But most of the people that came to that event had done at least probably 2 transactions with us, if not more. Okay, movie nights. Movie nights are a great way to keep in flow with your, hold on, I got noise here, sorry. Movie nights are a great way to keep in flow with your clients. And it's easy. If you're an introvert, it's real easy for you to invite people and let somebody else entertain them. And when we would do movie nights, and we'll do them again, it's a setup. You can get your team involved. Maybe your mortgage company, maybe your title company, your home inspector can maybe do something. Maybe they can help, with the cost. Maybe they can help with just some giveaways. It's just a matter. These events cost about $1,500 to do. You can probably get 250 people to come out to an event. We always try to find a blockbuster type movie, something that's coming, and try to get out before, right? So in movie theaters, and we've used Harkins. I believe in working with local companies, even at local restaurants. And Harkins is our only locally grown movie theater. It's been, I think, in Arizona now for 100 years. And so about $1,500 at a Harkins will get you at the theater. You can buy some popcorn or give out coupons for popcorn and drinks if you like. Again, just make an event to have people come out. So we like to have them. I like to have them on Thursday. Usually the movie theaters have a preview of premiere on Thursday before they actually open up on Fridays. That's a really great way to do an event. Or if it's an event where kids are going to come and they're going to bring their kids Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, first thing, get that going. So, the different types. We did our first adult movie. I was waiting for some reaction to that. But our first adult movie, and the movie about Freddie Mercury was coming out, and the front man of Queen. We all know who Queen is. Now these T-shirts here were kind of an afterthought, but what we decided to do with the Queen movie was turn it into a kind of a top 50 event. Again, this one we did not share with our entire database based on what we were trying to provide. So we everybody on the team were forced to pick up the phone and call and invite people to this event. So this was a little different. So we did it in the evening. We did it Thursday night. It was the first time the Queen movie was playing in Arizona. So it was premiere night. We rented the theater and we literally rented out the bar. So the Harkins in Arrowhead has a full bar. So everybody that came through our company or our invite got a wristband, and they can go up to the bar and get a cocktail or two. And it was pretty cool. People had a really good time. We encouraged people to dress up, like if they were going to a Queen concert back in the 70s, and we had some fun with that. But these type of T-shirts, again, this is a squeeze the orange type of giveaway. That this is a great T-shirt for people to wear to the gym. It's a really soft material. I wear mine still, and that's going back 2 years ago since we had that event. Another event we did was Toy Story 4. Now, in the Toy Story series, they've always been entertaining. What I like about Toy Story is that if you're a kid or an adult, you're highly entertained, right? There's a lot of adult humor that goes over the head of kids in these Toy Stories. But one of our team members, she goes, what if, because we're a big supporter of the Phoenix Children's Hospital, what if we trade a toy for an admission ticket, and have our client database, bring toys that we can give to the Children's Hospital. And that was really cool because that way we have a giveaway. Now, on the right-hand side, we have a newsletter. And this one went out to our entire database. And what was really interesting on this one, there's two people in the waiting room, and the keep saying these things pop up. Sorry. Having the newsletter, inviting everybody. We had people that wanted to RSVP up to, I think the highest one was 20 people. And that's bringing their family members, their sisters or whatever, and their kids, and making it an event. So if you do a kid movie, you may want to put a limit, right? Or at least talk to the person, to make sure that they're just not bringing 30 kids to the movie and a couple of adults, so not that you want to, there's only so many seats, right? So you want your clients to be welcome and not pushed out. This one had a waiting list to get in, and it was kind of difficult. I guess looking back, maybe doing 2 theaters might have been the way to go. It wasn't budgeted, but sometimes movies are just so good, everybody wants to come. And again, this was Saturday morning. It released on Friday, the day before. And again, having what you call a first run movie right at the beginning is going to get you the best impact. There's some pictures of our toys that were coming in. There's people dressing up, as I said, what a great Woody, huh? So after everything's said and done, one of the things that I learned about 4 years ago that I think has changed my business and it's changed my profitability of my business, which I think is very important, is to track every lead that comes into your space, right? Going back 30 years prior to starting to track our lead sources, we did a pretty good job of tracking where the lead came from at closing, right? And it's good to do, right? You want to know that if you're spending money on X, are you getting a return, okay? So this concept of lead tracker was kind of new to me. I was like, God, why would you track the leads for people that don't buy, right? Well, that's kind of the reason is you want to find out that your leads aren't falling through the cracks, right? So this is an example. This is an old, going from a couple of years ago, this screenshot. But you can see on the left-hand side, these are the different sources where my business come from, right? Agent referral, okay? I live up here in Blackstone, my sphere of influence up here. Boomtown was a CRM that we were running, and still are, but we're not doing any pay-per-click on that anymore. Client referrals, every door direct postcards. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? Interesting story here is if I had my most recent, which I need to update and put up here because I know it from really off the top of my head on where our number one lead sources are for today. Open house, number one lead source, number one lead generator. When I started my career 34 years ago, I started doing open houses almost right away, especially when I got my first listing. So let me rephrase that. I didn't really start listing homes till my 5th year in the business. So about 5 years into the business, I started doing open houses every weekend. I mean, when I say every weekend, I'm talking about every weekend, every Saturday, every Sunday. Back then, the Arizona Cardinals, or the Phoenix Cardinals, as I think they were called, came to town. I went out and bought my black and white 4-inch TV, right, with an antenna that popped out. And I had my folding chair, and every Sunday I'm watching Cardinal football on that little TV while I'm doing an open house. And we just did open houses over and over. And I look back today, that's probably my number one lead generator in my career, right at 34 years. I see my team excelling with open houses, and it's better than Zillow leads, right? It's better than internet leads that somebody from New York's going to come move here in 6 years when they retire from the post office, right? An open house lead is right there in your face. So what's interesting, we were doing, as I told you earlier, we were doing pay-per-click advertising in the beginning, about 4 or 5 years ago. And I was spending pretty good money. I was spending $2,500 on Zillow, and I was spending $2,500 on Boomtown, generating leads. What we found, they were both generating about the same number of leads coming in. But what we found is that the Zillow leads had like a 10x conversion ratio to a sell than we were getting from Boomtown. I mean, it's real simple. Like we sold one house in Boomtown and 10 in Zillow. That's 10x, right? And we're spending the same money. So my son Nate and I were talking one day, and he goes, why don't you just move your spend from Boomtown to Zillow and double down on Zillow, or stop spending money on Boomtown because those leads are harder to convert. So we did do that. We ended up stopping our Boomtown purchasing. And because of the lead tracker, you can make financial decisions that affect your bottom line by knowing what works and what doesn't. I do show right here that 79% of my business in this year came from literally 4 pillars, right? That's people I know, agent referrals, my sphere of influence, direct mail piece, going back in past clients, referrals again, right? Sphere again. So, you can lump everything to sphere of influence, right? I just like to break mine up into different spheres just to be clear on where that business is coming from. It's a little redundant, but with this tracker, you can do so, And if you look, again, agent referrals, at this time when this screenshot was done, I got 10 leads and closed 11. Pretty good. It's 110% conversion ratio, right? But if you look down to Zillow, and we only put in the Zillow leads that we actually talked to, that we started to build a relationship, not all the people that we never talked to. But on that, we had 52 leads that were strong, and we closed 13. That was a 25% conversion ratio, right? Which is pretty strong. It really is. I mean, now, if we put in all the leads we got from Zillow, it would probably been more around a 2 to 5% conversion ratio. So what this teaches you is where you spend your time and money is where you're going to get your return, right? Some people love burning and churning through online leads. I truly don't. I like the relationship piece. This is a idea of a 12-month marketing plan, right? We're getting ready to get into next year. What are you doing next year, right? So this gives you an idea of, all this, spreadsheet's not completely put out with numbers, but this example here, you're going to send out a postcard to your clients quarterly. Okay, when are you going to send them out? In this example, it's March, June, September, and December, right? I'm going to send out just listed postcards, 5,000 of those a month, twice a month. So my budget there was 10,000 postcards a month going out into the community. Again, not clients for life, but marketing my properties to get more buyers to put into our funnel to turn them into clients for life. Doing different types of online blogs, doing videos. This is actually one of my coaching clients' system. They do what they call a 3x3 video every month, where 3 people on the team create a video about what's going on in the community. All of us can do those type of things. Doing testimonials. This guy's really systematic. He just does testimonials on Facebook and Instagram every Tuesday, right? So that's 52 times in a year. It's pretty amazing how many touches that you can go out to your client database and to the public. I'm not going to go through everything here, but having a system for events, right? This particular agent has 6 scheduled events every year. And when you have an event, like as an example, we just did a pumpkin delivery contest this week, right? So I think we delivered north of 200 pumpkins to our clients. And again, this was a smaller outreach. We couldn't go out to the thousands. Again, everybody got their top 50, and we went out to deliver pumpkins to their house, along with a flyer that basically says, hey, decorate your pumpkin, take a picture of it, send it back into us, And we're going to give a $100 gift certificate on Halloween Day to the best pumpkin, if you will. We've done that internally in our company, and it's coming up today, right? 4:00. Excited about that. So anyway, that's 12 months of marketing. Set your marketing plan ahead of time. And again, you can carve it right down to just your clients if you want to increase your client database, because not everybody has enough clients to get them through. You also have to have some marketing. Now, note cards are a great way to keep in touch with your client database. Everybody likes a handwritten thank you card. I have a few up here just on my shelf. They're kind of hard to throw away, right? This one happened to come from somebody at the Children's Hospital. And, certain things just hang around longer than others. An email will get deleted in a minute. And Max is showing us some thank you cards. And we have them, right? And the thank you card is easy to do. They're also easy not to do, right? We find excuses on why not to do them. One thing that's really helped me out, and it's something that can even be delegated if you don't have time, is doing handwritten thank you notes and using a system or a company. I started using send out cards, I don't know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't even know when. And today they have an unlimited, I can send out 1,000 cards and it costs me $90, $98 a month for this service. I mean, think about that, just the stamps alone, right? Now you can't do a bulk. You can't like send one card to 100 people, but as many cards as you can personally write one off, you can copy and paste the same message and, and do different cards all day long, right? So we have in this database our clients' birthdays. So every year on their birthdays, the information stays in their database and we can send out birthday cards every day, if you will. And they're hand addressed. I don't have one handy here, but they're hand addressed. They come out of Salt Lake. I mean, they're not an Arizona address. But again, I don't know if people really pay attention. They open it up, they pull out the card, and you can have your you pick the font you want. It could be a handwriting font or a printed font or what have you. But they're just real easy to send out, and that way you don't have to go to the store and buy cards all the time or have stamps. Real simple. Gift baskets at close of escrow. Are you doing anything to, everybody's excited. Referrals come at the time when they go under contract to right about the time they close. That's when the reticular activator is most open, if you will, to be talking about real estate. They're talking about real estate at work, school, wherever they're at, and closing out a transaction. This one has a few things in it. We started using Cutco knives. Thought it was kind of dorky just to hand them a box, even though the Cutco knife inside might be $100 to $200 for just the one knife. It just didn't seem to have enough, so we wanted to add other things into the box. This is an idea. It has some clients here in Blackstone that are extreme Arizona Cardinal fans. So I came across this guy that paints motorcycle gas tanks, right? And he started a side business of taking these Yetis and actually custom painting Yetis to give to clients. So we were able to customize these. And again, the point I'm making on this particular gift, there is no Nate Martinez logo on it, right? It's not about me, it's about them. I've gone back in as many of our logos and shrink those down to our clients because, again, it's about them. And again, every time they use this, I'm sure they remember where they got it, right? Other ideas, right? This is I bought these boxes for our top 50 when we want to do something special. So you can see the box just with gratitude. I sign every email with gratitude, every card with gratitude. And what we've done here, the one in the middle shows that we have a cheese knife, Cutco cheese knife, and a bottle of wine. So, when you're with your client, if, like Tanya as an example, she doesn't drink Chardonnay anymore. She likes Sauvignon Blanc, right? So if somebody gives her a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc and knows that, I think she appreciates the gift a little bit more than Chardonnay. Chardonnay might get stuck in the bottom of the fridge and never drank, you know. So when you're in your client's house, start to be nosy, right? Kind of be curious. You see they have a wine fridge, ask them what the favorite, you know, they like Cab or they like Pinots or what have you. So if you know what they like, make note of that. Going back to that McKay 66, those are items that you want to know about your client, you know. Like we have a client on the bottom right, they like Pinot Grigio, and he's a vodka drinker. So we found a couple bottles, and that was the gift that we gave them. This one, again, I mean, this one does have our logo engraved in it. This is a pretty good size a cutting board, but again, we try to keep the engraving to a minimum. You know, even though this is a close-up of the cutting board, it's fairly small on the cutting board. So Warren Buffett said the solution for productivity is training, systems, and motivation. He says it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. You know, we're here to build reputations that last, you know, pretty much a lifetime. And I think the more that you can put into your clients, the more time and energy that you put into them is going to continue to give you a business. You know, I mean, I wake up every morning excited about being a realtor. I'm ready to go every day. You know, I'm not saying I don't have a bad day now and again, but they're pretty few and far between. I love the business we're in. I can't think of another. I think I'm unemployable. I don't think I could ever be anything but a realtor, right? Even though I own a real estate company, I have great people run the company. I like to be face to face, belly to belly with people, building relationships. I'm going to open up for any questions. That's pretty much all I have to share. We do it on time. I have 45 minutes. Anybody you want to unmute, Sarah, or let people unmute themselves, I guess, because somebody might be on the phone talking.
Nate, I'd like to know where you got those really cool boxes, those wood boxes that you put the wine and stuff in.
Oh, I don't know. I think it was like the dollar store, or Tanya goes out and Tanya's really good at making baskets. Her baskets for her clients are all one-off. I'm a D, right? So it's like, hey, let's go get it done, you know? I just hired another person on my team, and one of their jobs is going to help me with gifting, right? There's a lot of great companies out there that do gifting. I'm looking at one. I'm not endorsing them yet, but I have a couple of clients that coaching clients that I coach on the east side and the eastern part of the US that use a company called Client Giant. Now, Client Giant, you can buy a subscription. Now, you know, you can buy like 4 touches or 10 touches or 12 touches, whatever. They even have like these amazing packages. I always struggle, right? Because I think your gifting to a client should reflect something more about them. And maybe it's just me, you know what I mean? I struggle. Like I sold this house for $2 million, and I sold him a $2 million house. That was $4 million. Do I do the same for him as I do for the $200,000 sell? You know, I think we need to do a little bit more, right? So with Client Giant, they have some pretty good experiences, and you can buy a package that's a little higher. Now, what I've done for some of my high-end buyers is I didn't buy them a Cutco knife. I bought them a Cutco butcher block full of knives, you know. And, you know, some of those things are, you know, $1,500, $2,000 gift. But it's like, I mean, if they paid me 3% on a couple million, you know, I think it makes sense, right? So you know, like I said, Tanya's always shopping. I don't know if it's Michael's or Target or whatever, just finding baskets. She found a basket the other day. She was quite proud. She was somewhere, I don't know if it was home or something, and she found a basket that would house a plant, right? Like a big plant. So the basket was a circle basket about, I don't know, 15 inches. And there was no price on it at the store. And she had another basket that I don't know was $10 or whatever it was. and there was no price. And Tanya would just say, well, they're about the same size. If you want to just charge me the same for it. They came back, the basket was $1. You know what I mean? So she went and bought a plant that fit right in that basket. And that was part of the gift that she gave to somebody, was it was a really nice plant. I mean, I don't think she probably spent $10 on the plant, $1 on the basket, but it looked like a $30, $40 gift, just that alone. So just look around. I know a lot of our agents, a lot of our Buffini followers, if you will, they live in the dollar store. They go to the dollar store and they buy all these things from their pop buys, if that's, and they do themes. I've seen our agents do pop buys like in the summertime with sunblock and maybe some other things for around the pool, or Halloween, they do different treats and just finding things that to go. I think Tanya made some stuff for she made these, she's kind of crafty. She was making these I should go grab one, they're out there, but it's like wrapped in crepe paper. I don't even know what's inside the box, to be honest with you. But she has like little googly eyes on it, and she kind of drew a little mouth and a face, and she got some fur that was like hair, you know what I mean? And they're, green and orange kind of neon Halloween colors that she was taking out to some of her clients that had kits, along with pumpkins. Pumpkins just weren't enough for Tanya. She had to dress it up a little bit more, yeah. So what are the questions we got?
I have one, Nate. You might have addressed it this morning. I was a little late to the thing. How often do you personally call past clients? Do you do it once a year, 6 months? Do you have a system?
Well, I do have a system, and to be honest with you, Courtney, I'm not very good at that. And because in my database, I have over 3,400 clients, right? And I've never been able to get through the process of talking to them all. So I've kind of filed bankruptcy on doing that and trying to reach out to that, because I've started. Now, I do have a gentleman that lives in the Philippines, one of my virtual assistants, that does call all my clients, doing maybe a customer checkup, making sure their email, their address, and he cross-references, because having clients over 34 years, people actually moved and didn't use me because I didn't keep a good enough touch with them at some point, or their daughter became a realtor or what have you. So, he goes through and does the database management, Courtney, where he goes through. I gave him access to maricopacounty.gov. It's free service, and he just types in the address and, see if they still living in that home or not, and flags it accordingly. Calls people and keeps up with them. I'm really trying to focus on my top 50, and I'm also using the First app. And I have 2,368 people in the First app that are marked with 3 stars or multiple stars, right? Some only have 1, some 2, and some have 3. And that's where I'm trying to reach out. But again, it's mind-boggling. I just can't get to them all. So I scroll through there, and people that I can remember and had a relationship with them, because you remember a lot of my client database is also some of my team clients. And so we're trying to make sure that everybody on the team should have a top 50. Everybody on the team should be working the top 50. And I think if we do that, that's about the best I can do. But this First app, if you guys aren't using it, I'll show you right now. Every day I get this little ding to do something, right? But what this tells me, and Courtney, if I was able to talk to everybody once a year or once a quarter or something, I might have better results than I have right now. But this really opens my eyes. Right now, today, I know you really can't see it on there, but the green bar chart is what I put in escrow or listed, and the purple were in my database that listed with somebody else, right? So it's basically saying I'm 32% effective with my database. It means of the people that listed, that happen to reside in my database. Now, let's define that. That's my cell phone, that's my LinkedIn, that's various different places that maybe I didn't have, or it was pretty much my cell phone and it was my CRM, right? That's what it was. I want to correct that. But 169 people that were in my world of some way, right? And it might have been a plumber that just happened to be in my CRM, listed their house. 169 people that I could have listed. Now, so that keeps me a little more focused to understand, wow, that was $90 million in lost business, right? The good news is, I was able to list 81 of the people that were in my database for about 36 million on the, year to date. So 81 versus 69. So if we can get better at touching our clients, better at staying in touch with people that already used us before. Let me give you an example, Courtney. So one of your real good clients and friend, Greg, right, used to be my client. And it's somewhere, you guys came into their life. I don't know if it was kids, school, sports.
It was kids.
Kids, yeah.
From first,
So
yeah.
a new relationship gets made, right? So we can't get upset. Sometimes I get upset with myself. I never get upset with the other person. But it's like, what could I have done? What could I have done to stay better in touch, right? And but yeah, Greg was, I really enjoyed that family, but it's fun to still see them around, see them on Facebook, see Courtney and Joe having a good relationship with them. As an owner of a Remax office, I used to be in the office and I'd see somebody walk in and they were working with my client and they were one of my agents. They were not my team. I was like, oh, or I'm in the grocery store and said, hey, we listed your house with you. And I'm like, oh, who'd you list with? And they named one of our agents, So, again, I'm not as in tune with as many people as I should be. But again, I'm trying to, and I want to have 86 referrals for my top 50. If I do that, how much more can I actually handle? 86 personal referrals.
It's
Goes a long way.
It's 5 minutes till, and you have Verl's presentation at the top of the hour. I posted a link in there to the National Whimsical Holiday Calendar. There's literally something happening every single day of the year that you guys could use as some kind of a fun marketing idea. So definitely check that out and bookmark that. Is there anything else before we wrap up? Y'all are jumping in to hear Verl's presentation, right?
Yep, I am.
10 o'clock. All right, good.
Yeah. Nate, how often do you audit your top 50?
Well, it's something you should audit to the fact that at least once a year you should go through and decide if you want to remove somebody. Okay. And again, Sarah's got the app that we can give you. It's an amazing spreadsheet that if you use the top 50 app and use the referral tracker on there, it automatically starts calculating how many referrals that the people in your top 50 are giving you. And then, going right into the immediate reward system. I'll do another video on the top 50 tracker and plug it in. I know I've done one before on those Friday videos that I have. I'm going to actually start this week with going over the 12 key concepts that we teach at Workman Success Training. I'm going to take one concept a week and build a video on it. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys, you should have that already in your email. A couple of you, it was too big, so I didn't send it to you, but majority of you should have received that already. If you didn't, please reach out and I'll make sure you guys get those 3 documents that were referenced.
Yeah, we better close up so we can get the bandwidth to get on the other Zoom call.
Real quick, everybody wish Lisa Bray a happy birthday. Today's her birthday, so.
Happy birthday,
All right,
Lisa.
Lisa. I did see
Happy
that it was
birthday.
birthday week for her.
Happy birthday. Woo.
29 already. God, how do you do that? All right, guys, I got to run. We'll see you.
Thank you, Nathan.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.